somebody else's computer here, so I'm getting used to it. All right, Don, do you have your, are we set camera-wise? We're going to get started here in a minute. We're going to get started right now. It is 5:30. This is the time that's been set aside for the town hall in reference to the water and sewage rates and the things that we've been discussing for some time. The city has a serious issue with the age of the water lines and such, and through a couple different study sessions, we were advised that some serious amount needed to be taken care of. Some serious work needed to be done, and the water fund needed to be able to stand alone on that. There are the two study sessions are going to be made available. I have talked to our videographer, and he's going to arrange it so that they play on the government channel for the next foreseeable future, back to back, along with this meeting that we have here, so that those that are interested will be able to tune in and get a good idea of why everything has been done up to this point. So instead of me rambling on, though, I think that our city manager has a presentation to put forward. So, James?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So yeah, here we are. I'm going to share my screen because I have put together a PowerPoint. I'm sure everybody's getting pretty tired of my PowerPoints lately, but they do help kind of keep me organized here. So, all right, just to give quick background for those who don't know, our water system has about 120 miles of water mains and serves over 15,000 properties. I think it's close to 15,800. City sewer system as well. Of course, it seems to stand reason that if you have 120 miles of water mains, you're going to have something similar in the sewer side as well. We actually have about 123 miles of pipes in the sewer line, and the sewer system operates not only 9 different pump stations throughout the city, but also a retention basin. For those who aren't aware of what a pump station is and what it really functions as, sewer systems operate on some of the oldest technology, truly. When you think about the Roman aqueduct, the entire idea of a slight decline in elevation is going to move water a great distance. That's our sewer system. But at some point you run out of, you get down 20, 30 feet, you need to bring it back up so you can start that gravity all over again. And so that's what our pump stations do, is they pump the water up so that it can continue falling again. Both of these systems are old. They've been around for a very long time and are in need of significant repair. Currently, just to kind of more background here, city's water and sewer fund operates on about a $14 million budget. This budget is responsible for the various aspects of the system's operations, maintenance, also covers the cost of paying for the water purchased from Great Lakes Water Authority, and then paying DUA for the treatment of sewer, of our sanitary sewer at their treatment plant. And also, this is the budget that covers the funds for system improvements. So, quick breakdown as to where all of our water and sewer money goes. So approximately 9.5% goes to salary and benefits of those employees within the water and sewer departments. 10%, almost 11% then goes to operations. So I'm talking about operational supplies, electricity, natural gas, general repairs and maintenance to the system. About 14.38% are capital capital investments. That's about $2 million this year we're looking at. We also have to cover the depreciation of the assets in this account. The water and sewer funds operate slightly different as far as an accounting base go. Our general government are more on the modified accrual basis as opposed to a cash basis, which the water and sewer funds have to operate under. And so we have to account for the depreciation of the assets there. Debt service takes up a pretty decent chunk at almost 7%. The amount of money that goes back that covers costs of administration is just under 4.5%. Our legacy costs here are about 6.33% of our total spending. The biggest thing, truly the biggest thing in this fund is our payments to both GLWA and DUA coming in at just over 38.5%. So when you really look at the breakdown, we are operating a fairly lean system as far as current operations go. Just taking into account salaries and benefits of current employees, the operations, and then the administration, you're only talking about 25% of the entire budget is covered there. That's a pretty good overhead. That's pretty efficient. But again, some other things that we can't control as much is the payments to Great Lakes Water Authority and then the Downriver Utility Wastewater Authority. They tell us what their rates are going to be, and then we have to turn around and charge our residents the same, roughly, a little bit more to cover some of the other costs. So the only things we really can't control, there's not much. And the things we've tried to control as capital investments, we need to increase. So that's what a lot of this is all about. Both systems need significant improvements. Looking at the water system, these improvements come out of our 5 and 25 year capital improvement plan that we were mandated to do. All cities were mandated to put together through the Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy. Most people call it EGLE. You may also hear intertwined with that MDEQ, because that was the regulatory agency before it was merged about 3 years ago. But we also are required through the state to replace all lead service lines in the city, of which we have approximately 4,000. And we have 20 years to replace them. So essentially, if you're looking at our 5-year capital improvement plan, taking out last year's, because last year is done, each year moving forward in water alone, we're looking at about $1.72 million every year in capital improvements that are needed. However, the sewer system is actually in greater need of repairs and has higher cost associated with the needs. Some of this is due to just the age of the system, and it's time to upgrade various aspects. And either we do it on our own, which we hadn't yet, but we are going to be mandated to do it. The city system has been in violation of our NPDES permit based on the amount of sanitary sewer overflows and discharges over the last, it's been a good 10 years at least. So because of this, we've been in ongoing discussions with EGLE to identify things we can do to help the system, things we can do to address the issues and cut down on our sanitary sewer overflows. But we are going to have to do these either on our own or through the administrative consent order that we're working on with them. So if we don't do them, we're going to continue to face potential significant fines and fees. And one of the things we're going to have to do is raise water and sewer rates to cover this. This is a better, I hate to say more fair, because what's fair, but it's a better option than having some kind of judgment levy placed on us where we would have to actually charge property tax for this type of thing. Property tax is not a good way to fund water and sewer systems. The value of your property has no direct bearing on how much water and sewer you use, right? So basically, over the next 20 years, we have an estimated $37.3 million in the sewer system. This comes out over 20 years, an average of $1.9 million a year. Thankfully, we are able to allocate the federal funding in the amount. We've got $11 million planned for 3 of the larger sewer projects, taking the total amount we're going to need down to $26.3 million, which still is a $1.3 million average each year over the next 20 years. So we're looking at almost $3.5 million annually in system improvements, in comparison to that $2 million I showed you just a little bit earlier. So we had to figure out how we were going to do this and what was the most effective and methodical way to raise the funds. And we contracted with Plant Moran to conduct a water and sewer rate study. This study identified 3 different rate scenarios that would meet the needs of the city. And just to go over this a little bit, the mayor mentioned at the top of the meeting that we had a couple study sessions. The first study session with mayor and council discussed the need to increase rates was November 30th, 2020. Do believe that video is online if you want to watch it on demand. And at that point, our intention was to make the rate increase effective with the adoption of the budget, which wouldn't be coming for another 7 months almost at that point. A little bit of a left turn happened in 2021 in March when the American Recovery Act was signed into law and allocated a significant chunk of funding to the city. This meant that we could throw more funding into the water and sewer systems and not be a part of the rate increase. And with that, we did hold another study session on July 19th, 2021 to discuss the expenditure of the ARPA plans, and then another study session on September 7th to discuss how the ARPA funding was going to affect water and sewer rates. Finally, after the 2 different study sessions on the funding, the sewer rates, water and sewer rates, and then also a study session on expenditures of ARPA money on the water and sewer system. On September 20th, the mayor and city council selected the second scenario, and I'll just quickly go over the first scenario that was thrown out and was rejected. This one saw a first-year increase of 20% for water and a 25% increase for sewer in the first year. But then over the next 2 to 10 years, there would be no more increase for water and 5.5% increase on sewer every year. It depended on how much water a resident would use would affect how much your rate would increase. Model 2, the one that was adopted, included a 10% first year increase on both the water and sewer side. And then because it's a less amount up front, it is going to require more consistent rate increases. But on the water side, it's 1.9% increase annually between years 2 and 10, and then an 8.2% for sewer in years 2 through 10. And that was the one, and I've got some examples in a minute that I can show you between different bills. And then the last one was a 15% increase initially for both water and sewer, and then a smaller increase years 2 through 10 of 0.9% on water, and then 7.3% for sewer. But again, the selection was to go for number 2, which is kind of a spread out increase over the course of the life of it, over the 10 years. So looking at this one, you can see the difference. There wasn't a change in the meter charge flat fee. Between the three different models, though, this is probably the most significant increase that you can see between the current rates and the proposed rates, where you go from $2.50 to $9.21 for the standard meter fee. And in this one, so looking at Model 2, this resident who has 23 units of water and sewer used, their bill will increase from $257.82 on that 23 units to $289.06 on those 23 units. Really, the biggest increases are coming on the meter charge here. The meter charge, and then the sewer rate, and a little bit on the water rate. That meter charge is probably the biggest increase, but it's only one per bill, if that makes sense. So that's kind of the sticker shock right there. So then looking again, somebody who is using 15 units, their quarterly bill is going to be going from $184.94 to $210.10, with the amount of increase being $25.16. So you might ask, well, why is the difference kind of close between a 15 unit user and a 23 unit user? And it comes down to the increase on the meter charge is, you've got a $7 increase right off the top. So that's going to affect the lower unit users a little bit more, I think, as we go through this. But so that is the presentation I have prepared. And I am, at this point, I'm happy to take any questions, any comments that is out there.
Mr. Chesley, James?
Yes, go ahead.
James, this also shows the rise in garbage and recycling cost, correct?
Yes, that's also on there, and that's a contracted item. That's something that's outside the scope of the water and sewer rate study, per se.
That would have happened anyway.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and I believe, Lisa, you can nod if I'm right, that has already happened.
No, because we didn't adopt the rate.
Oh, right. Well, and it's not effective until October 1 anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
Through the chair?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. James, thank you for putting that together. You added information on there that we didn't have before, and I think that's going to be pretty helpful. I was just curious if you could give me an average of a water bill. Like, what is the average user? I know mine was a little high at the 23, but what do we have an average?
Lisa, what is the average?
We did come up with an average. It's hard to say what an average is because you have households with different numbers of people in it. So you have a poor or a single person. So it's really hard to say what a true average is, but it usually is generally around 20 units of water.
Okay.
And I do know that the AWWA has kind of an average number they like to use. I can't remember what it is offhand. I did just try and do a quick search, but I think it's somewhere in the 10 to 20 range as well.
Now, can I ask you, have we been fined?
We have not been fined as of yet.
Good, okay. Good.
There is likely a component of the administrative consent order that will carry a fine. We're kind of pleading with Eagle to keep that low because we're trying to make investments into the system, and it gets harder with a fine. I do know it was on the water side, but a community in the state, I can't remember exactly which one right now, but they recently entered an ACO with Eagle, and they got fined pretty heavily. But theirs was more of a water issue than a sewer, than this type of thing.
Can I ask you to the Great Lakes Water Authority and the DUA fees that are, they're the bills that we pay to them. Is there more to it than just water and sewer rates?
Lisa, I don't think there is. We've got the excess flow charge on the DUA side. But Great Lakes Water, I think it's pretty much, and there might be some debt service in there.
Yeah, there's debt service for DUA as well.
Yeah, but
Okay.
it's all generally based on the amount of consumption.
Have we heard from, oh my goodness, that study on the water loss? And
We have-
how long that's going to take?
So the Great Lakes Water Authority program, we won't be able to get into it until, at best, they're saying 6 months out.
Oh my.
But that is only one aspect of trying to find out the water loss. We've been putting together a kind of comprehensive program internally here to look at the water meters, look at some of the water accounts that might have very low reads or zero reads, the estimated water meter accounts. And then we're also looking at different ways to do some other leak detection, which is what that Great Lakes Water Authority program was.
Okay.
And also, I think I have sent out an email to mayor and council regarding DUA's rate study that they're working on. Essentially taking a new approach with the excess flow charges. Currently, all but one community has estimated excess flow. I think only Ecorse right now, maybe not Ecorse, but there's Riverview, I think, might be the only one. Somebody has their storm sewer actually flow metered. All of the separated systems are going to be flow metered and charged exactly for their excess flow. So what they used to do is they took all of the flow that was beyond the water consumption and did an estimate and shared it out across the 13 communities, if that makes any sense.
Wow.
It's a formula that's been around for a very long time, very antiquated. The combined systems are going to bring in, and I said separated, I meant combined. Combined systems are going to should, in theory, contribute a lot more excess flow than separated systems. So what they're going to be doing is flow metering all the combined systems, and then estimating the other, I think it's four or five separated systems that won't have flow meter, and will be one of the estimated, but the amount that will be estimated from is going to be significantly less. So hopefully we're going to see a reduction then in the excess flow, and it'll be a closer to accurate depiction.
But how long before we see that?
It's still a little bit of ways out. They did a couple meetings similar to this over the last little bit, but they're still a ways out.
Thank you.
James, I've heard rumors that the state may be coming with some funds for the lead lines or some
There's-
infrastructure.
There is a lot of talk that we'll be able to utilize some federal funding in the potentially forthcoming, $1.5 trillion infrastructure package they're supposed to vote on Thursday. And if that's the case, we've been trying to avoid, and the lead lines aren't specifically part of a lot of the rate study here either. We've been trying to avoid too much on the lead lines because of that. So not planning too much on the ARPA funds for lead lines because we're anticipating the infrastructure package to pay for some of it. It will end up being part of the rates, I'm sure, if we can't use federal funding for it, but that is the hope. That's what everybody's been kind of watching.
Thank you.
The worry there, though, is that the costs are going to rise because everybody will be doing it. Demand will increase and supply is going to take some time to catch up.
Okay, Leslie, do you have any questions or comments on this?
Yes, I just had one question. What is, in the budget that was shown, what is the difference between the operation costs and the admin costs?
So the admin costs, because we can't, a lot of the administration doesn't punch an hourly clock, right? It's a general estimate to charge the different enterprise funds for administration time spent working through water and sewer issues, essentially.
Okay, thank you. That's my only question.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything? Then again, James, if those study sessions could be, I know that they're out there, but I think that if we started airing them with the things of the council meeting, it'd have a better chance of people seeing them, and especially with this. And I would think that the PowerPoint that Plant Moran put out, as well as your PowerPoint, also should be part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a reminder, gonna do another session like this on Wednesday at 2. So if people that maybe work in the evening and couldn't get on, or have children's activities in the evening and couldn't get on, another opportunity.
That, and it will be replayed.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else?
I have nothing else.
Okay, it's not a regular meeting, so we will just
We can just end it.
end until, but all of us will be back in about a half hour or so. All right.
Did you all
Thank you,
get,
everybody.
did you all get the updated link for the 6:30 meeting?
It's on the
Yes.
homepage. Yep.
Yeah.
They did post it. Yep.
Yep.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.